my lovelies, it is time for another reading vlog, so stay tuned. So we have been having a time here. So you know, we recently had to get a new roof put on, and apparently the roofers left a few nails in our driveway, which my car got a few stuck in tires. So yesterday when I was out and about and I kept hearing something, so when I finally got to stop, I checked and I had something in my tires, so I had to go, and turns out I had a couple of things in my tires and they were too close together to patch, and I ended up needing 2 new tires, which cost a nice chunk of change with that car. And then our AC isn't working anymore, so if you hear some like noise in the background, it's because we have this, let me turn this and show you. We have this tiny little window unit, and that is in the room that we are currently sleeping in, which is where I'm filming right now, because it is too hot in the rest of the house to do anything. Like, oh my goodness, sweat your butt off. It is 86 degrees in my house, and it's like 10:30 at night. It's probably down to 83 degrees, I think now. But yeah, like 2 hours ago, it was 86 degrees in this house. Ridiculously hot. So yeah, I've been filming. I've got a mess completely surrounding me with bookish boxes. I've just been filming a bookish box unboxing, and I have a couple more videos to film. I'm gonna be up really late tonight, but I wanted to go ahead and get this vlog started, tell you about what I'm reading. I did finish the Book of M this morning. Oh, and I think, yeah, yesterday, yesterday I finished The Serpent King, and oh my lord, guys, that book is so freaking good, but it kept ripping my heart out and ripping my heart out, and oh, I mean, it did get better, but it hurt to read, but I loved it. It was so good, and I give it 5 stars, and I cannot wait to talk with Jeff this weekend and ask him why. Oh my goodness, why? And then today I finished the Book of M by Pink Shepherd, and that one was weird. Well, I guess I should go back and tell you about The Serpent King. So this follows a group of 3 friends. We have Dill, Lydia, and Travis, and they're all dealing with their own issues in this small town in Tennessee. And Lydia, she's kind of internet famous, and she has this blog, and she gets to like interview celebrities and things like that, and she's trying to get into NYU and move up in the world, and she wants to get out of this small town. But you know, she has these 2 great friends at home, or in this town that she lives in. Dill and Travis have been her best friend for like ever, and they're each dealing with her gonna be going off in their own way, and Dill doesn't want her to go, and she knows that she can't stay, and she's trying to get Dill to go off to college, and she doesn't really try to get Travis to go anywhere because he seems like he's actually happy where he's at. And Dill, he's dealing with a lot. His dad is well, he was a pastor in this science ministry church where they were like handling snakes and drinking diluted battery acid and cyanide, and that's not what sent his pastor daddy to prison. No, what did that was he had a whole bunch of child pornography on his computer, and that's what sent him to jail. And a lot of people seem to blame Dill and think it was actually him, that he was the one responsible for all of this, and that he's responsible for his dad going to jail. And then there's Travis, who he's living in the shadow of his older brother Matt, who was killed in Afghanistan, and you know, he was a football player and all that stuff, and made his daddy proud. And you know, when he died, his dad became more of an alcoholic and is really just not a nice guy. And so they're all just dealing with their own things, and this is kind of a slice of life in a way. It's their senior year and like what happens throughout their senior year. It's amazing. Now on to the one I finished today, the Book of M. That book's just weird. It's sci-fi. It's about sort of like, almost like a plague has hit the world, where people's shadows are disappearing, and once their shadow's gone, their memories start to follow, and they forget. It starts out small with like confusing this animal for this animal, but eventually they get where they've forgotten how to read, they've forgotten their own name, they forget how to breathe, they forget how to eat, and they all starve to death and things like that. And Ori and his wife Max, they've kind of held up, and Max, his wife, has lost her shadow, and he's trying to kind of help her hang on to her memories and keep her safe. And he goes out one day to try to find food, and when he comes back, she's gone. And so pretty much the biggest part of the story is him trying to find her. And she hasn't forgotten, but she wants to leave before she forgets. And along the way, she meets other people that have lost their shadows, and they're trying to make their way to New Orleans because they've heard that that's a good place to go. And Ori, he's just searching all over for her, and there's some weird twists. I mean, it was okay. I think I'm going to give it 3 stars. It wasn't a me book, but I did finish it. It was entertaining to an extent, but not really my kind of book. And then today I have started A Hunger Like No Other by Cressley Cole. And I'm currently doing reading sprints, or I was doing reading sprints, and in that time I've gotten to page 133 of this. I am very much enjoying it, but I have taken a break from reading so that I can get this filming done because it's late. It's now like 10:40, and I do want to go to sleep at some point tonight, and I have 3 more very large videos to film. So I'm gonna go and do that, and I will talk to you probably tomorrow. Oh yeah, and I have a serious update about our air conditioning system. So I've been terrible at vlogging this week, but there was a lot going on. I think I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but we were without air conditioning in our house pretty much the entire week. It was very, very miserable. We bought these 2 little window units to go, like one in the bedroom that Marty and I are sleeping in, and one in the bedroom that Xander's sleeping in, so that we at least had one semi-cool place. Though that little window unit, it was making it bearable. It wasn't even making it like completely cool, it was making it bearable, because we had temperatures over 90 degrees, sometimes over 100 degrees outside, and our house, it stayed over 80 degrees most of the time. Like, the average temperature in our house was around 84. It kind of fluctuated between like 82 to 86, so it stayed mostly around 84 degrees in our house all day long. And for those that use Celsius, 84 degrees Fahrenheit is about almost 29 degrees Celsius. So it pretty much stayed about 27.7 Celsius to 30 Celsius in our house the entire week. So I wasn't really feeling much like vlogging or doing anything. I could barely, I was editing some, but my editing was so slow because the heat was just making my brain like a fog, and I pretty much lived in the bedroom for the whole week. So I would edit for a little while, and then I'd have to do something else that required like no thinking. So I started watching a series on Netflix, which was really, really cute, and I ended up binge watching it. But it was a Never Have I Ever. Super cute. Definitely recommend. It's adorable. But yeah, I did get some reading done, but not a huge amount. Because we did do live reading sprints. We did one on Clint's channel, and we did one on Kaylani's channel. I was supposed to do one on mine, but that was the day that they were coming to install AC. So the way our house is set up, it's like a split level, and the bottom, all right, so the whole house was on like this 4-ton unit, and apparently 4-ton unit was not big enough for our house, and it broke, and we needed, not only did we need a new unit, but we needed a bigger unit, or in our case, we decided to go with 2 smaller units, because with one unit, when the very bottom level was the right temperature, the middle level was okay, and the top level was always kind of hot. So we got one unit that's like 3.5 tons to cover the bottom 2 units, and then a separate one for the top. And on Friday they came and they installed the one for the bottom 2 units. So as you can see, I'm back in my library. It is finally comfortable in this house. I have a guy actually coming here in an hour to cut a hole in our ceiling in the hallway and frame out like a pull down ladder thing for our attic, so that they can get in there, and they have to like redo all the ductwork and stuff for putting a unit upstairs. And that's gonna get put in Monday or Tuesday or both. It's a lot more work than what they had to do for the bottom one. So we're back to having some air in our house. It's more comfortable. But yeah, I'm really excited for everything to be all done. But that's why I really haven't vlogged. You can go and check out Clint and Kaylani's live reading sprints if you want to like see kind of how things were going throughout the week. But I was like sweating profusely during those vlogs. I looked a hot mess. But on the 28th, I did, let's see, what day is that? Wednesday the 28th. I did complete A Hunger Like No Other by Cressley Cole, and I really enjoyed it. I wasn't entirely sure about this to begin with, because I thought there was going to be like this whole, I thought the guy in here was going to be raping the girl, and that doesn't happen, and I'm very glad about that. So this is like a werewolf and vampire kind of story. So our main character, she is half Valkyrie, half vampire, and the guy in here, he's a werewolf, and he has been held prisoner and tortured and things like that for the past 150 years in the catacombs in Paris. And one day he smells his mate from underground. He can smell her, and he breaks free. He like had to destroy his leg to get out of there, but he breaks free and goes after the girl. And it turns out that the girl is this half vampire, half Valkyrie, but all he can tell when he meets her is that she's vampire. And he hates vampires, and so he is very much not okay with the fact that this person is his mate. And he's not entirely kind to her in the beginning, but he also knows that he needs to be with her. And because he's not so kind to her in the beginning, she's not too receptive to this. Also, she's never been involved with a guy ever, so in any way whatsoever, kisses, none of that. I think she had never even held hands with a guy. So yeah, she's also never drank straight from the source. She's always gotten her blood from like a blood bank kind of thing. she doesn't really know of any other vampires. She was raised by her mother, who is the Valkyrie, or she was raised by her aunts, which it was a coven of Valkyries. I really enjoyed it. It does get quite steamy. Oh, also our werewolf, he's Scottish, and love the accent. I listened to the audiobook of this. I found it on Scribd. It was a lot of fun. I give it 4 stars. And as far as other reading goes, I have started The Sweet Spot by Heather Hayford, and I managed to get to page 81, so I still have quite a chunk left of this. So this is just going to roll over into my August. And my buddy read for this week was The Wicked Will Rise by Daniel Page. This is the second book in the Dorothy Must Die series, like the second. This is the third book that we've read, but the second one we read was like a collection of novellas. So this is the actual second in the series. I've read this series multiple times. I love it. It's so much fun. It's such an interesting twist on the Wizard of Oz characters. And in this particular one, there is a queer element, though it's small. It's a very small queer element. And I don't want to say what it is. But in this one, Amy is tasked with collecting the courage from the lion, the heart from the Tin Man, and the brain from the Scarecrow. And she's been told by the wizard that that's the only, like, collecting those gifts that were given is the only way that she's going to be able to kill Dorothy. And this was great. I'm still working on this. I'm supposed to finish this today, but because it is August 1st, this will be part of my August TBR, I guess. And to be honest, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to finish this today, because I have a video that I have to finish editing and uploading, and I also have to get my live show for the mid-month live reading sprints all set up. So I don't know how much reading I'll get done. We'll see. Oh, and we had our live show with Jeff Zentner yesterday. It went great. We had a wonderful time with Jeff, and our special co-host for that particular live show was Julie from Pages and Pens. That was a pleasure to chat with her as well. And then we had our after hours live show with too much wine. Way too much wine. And that live show just went stupid. Like, it was like, let's get on every topic that seems like a bad topic to get into. So politics, DC versus Marvel, just all kinds of ridiculousness. And I mean, it was fun, but yeah. That was how that after hours show went. And I also have a package here. So I think I know what this is. I believe this is a book that an author reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to read. Oh, they wrapped it up. I love that. So the author reached out to me, asked me if I wanted to read this as a e-arc or whatever a while back. And I looked it up. I thought it sounded really, really interesting. But I don't really read a lot of ebooks. I tend to forget about ebooks. And so I told the author, I said, you know, this sounds really interesting, and this does sound like something I would read, but I think you should pass this on to somebody else, because I'm terrible at remembering to read ebooks, and I don't want it to just, you to send it to me and it getting forgotten about. I said, however, if you ever do get physical copies, I'd be more than happy to take a physical copy and read it. And she wrote me recently and said, hey, I just got physical copies. Are you still interested in reading? And I said, absolutely. So that's what this is. I love that she wrapped it up. So cute. This is Strange Gods by Allison Kimball. And I think this is super cute. This is, I believe, self-published, I think. This says, Spooky arrives at a wilderness boot camp for troubled teens with 2 suitcases and an ultimatum. Either she keeps her head down over the summer or she won't be allowed home at the end of it. All she wants to do is survive the pyros, bullies, and power-tripping counselors, get through senior year, and start her life somewhere new. She'll do just about anything to protect that future. But when an encounter with another camper goes awry and ends with Spooky hiding in the woods, something else finds her. Something ancient and powerful has sent out feelers, hoping to catch a human alone. For its purposes, one human is as good as any other. Even a delinquent teen will do. If Spooky wants to survive to see any kind of future, she will have to figure out how to gain leverage over a god. And as if the one wasn't bad enough, a pantheon of dark enemies is lining up between her and the life she's always wanted. And I am super interested in reading this. She did write a little thing inside here. It says, Melanie, thank you so much for reading Strange Gods. I hope you enjoy the journey. It's only like 327 pages. And let's see, about the author, it says, Allison Kimball began writing because she loves stories and believes in their power to shape our world and ourselves. Her writing blends the real and the fantastical and crosses genres of horror, fantasy, and sci-fi. Now that her debut novel, Strange Gods, is in your hands, she is working on her next novel and a short story anthology. She lives in the greater Seattle area with her husband and spends her time walking in the woods, going to the movies, and seeking adventures large and small. And I'm really excited to have this. I'm really excited to read this. I'm definitely going to try to fit this in my August TBR. We'll see. My August TBR just keeps growing. Yeah. If you watched the fiasco that was my Wheel of TBR, you know, I need another really good month like I had in July to get through everything. So we'll see how that goes. But if you haven't watched that fiasco, I'll link it up here. It was a hot mess. It really, really was. I was tripping over my wheel. My power went out. It was a mess. But, oh, and the wheel was not kind. At all. The wheel was not kind. But I'm hoping that I can manage to pull out another month like I did in July, where I read a ridiculous amount. I think I completed like 27 books, I believe, in July, which is a lot. All right, well, I think I'm just going to wrap this vlog up. I know it was literally like 2 days or something like that. But there's lots of live shows that you can go and check out if you want to see other parts of my week throughout. But I just know that my day is pretty much going to be spent on the computer. So not really going to be much else to vlog. But I hope you guys still enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, but hopefully better, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you. Bye!